recorded. Yes, now we are recording. I see we have Dhananjay as well. Hello, Dhananjay. Thanks for joining. Um, cool. Now, Dhananjay is going to hear his name a lot in Bhagavad Gita because Dhananjay is one of the names of Arjuna. Okay, so let's start with Bhagavad Gita. First of all, let me give you some facts. Fact number one, Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. It was told by Sri Krishna to Arjun in the middle of the war. There are 18 adhyay of Bhagavad Gita. Also, there are 18 chapters of the Mahabharata. No coincidence there. It's actually quite symmetrical if you see, and there's a lot of symmetry throughout Bhagavad Gita that we will see. There are 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. The word Gita means a song that was sung by the God himself. Bhagavad. Bhag means the God, Vad means spoke. So there is also another Grantha by the name Bhagavad. Have you guys heard about it? Srimad Bhagavad. Srimad Bhagavad, Bhagavad Gita. Then we have Ramayana. These are some of the core, I would say, pieces of the books that really form our culture. These are the base because they are all huge. All right. Now, when we talk about Bhagavad Gita, let's actually start with the first adhyay. First adhyay is called Arjun Vishad Yoga. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to look at every shloka one by one. So I need everyone to unmute themselves, and we are all going to say the shloka with me, or rather after me. Is everyone okay with that? If you are at a workplace or if you are in a crowded place and you're not able to speak, it's all right. But it is preferable if you can recite this after me. You will feel the effect. All right. So anyone who would like to unmute? Or anyone who can unmute?
Yes, Aniket.
Okay, Anshum can unmute. Great. So let's recite. Wherever you are, you can recite over there also. Dhritarashtra uvacha.
Drishtacha Uvacha
Dharmakshetre kurukshetre.
Dharmashetre Kurukshetre
Samaveta yuyutsavaha.
Samvedata Yuyutsava
No, not samvedata. Samaveta.
Samveta Yuyutsva
Yeah, samaveta yuyutsavaha.
Samveta Yuyutsavaha
Mamakaha.
Mamakaha
Pandava.
Pandava
Chaiva.
Sheva
Mamaka Pandavaschaiva.
Mamaka Pandava Sheva
Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Kim Kurvata Sanjaya.
Okay, cool. Now, this entire first shloka, it is being spoken by Mr. Dhritarashtra, okay, who is the current king of Hastinapur. Now, let me give you a quick brief of this entire thing and the history behind it. So, if you talk about the empire of Hastinapur, then it had two different princes. There was a crowned prince, his name was Pandu, and there was his brother whose name was Dhritarashtra. Now, every name in Bhagavad Gita has a meaning. Rather, every name in Mahabharata has a meaning. All right. So, Dhritarashtra, what does it mean? Dhrita means hold it tightly. If you are about to fall off a bus, fall in a bus, let's say you're standing in a bus, and suddenly the driver puts on the brake, you hold on to that bar tightly, right? You should not fall. With the same intensity, somebody is holding an entire nation. Dhruta means hold it tightly. Drashtra means the nation. So Dhritarashtra is somebody who is holding the entire nation. His brother was Pandu. Now Pandu means completely white or pale. Now the reason for that is both of these had their own disabilities. Dhritarashtra could not see, and Pandu was so pale, and his immune system was almost non-existent. So he was always very weak. As a result, they said, Mr. Pandu, you go to the jungle and you stay there. Like, these guys, there are those resorts, right? There are those sanctuaries where you can go and stay there for a week. Very healthy living. No plastic around you. There are no smokes around you. Not a lot of pollution around you. You want to live in that kind of environment. Recently, one of my friends had a heart attack. When I say recently, it's about 90 days ago. And after that, he had a surgery. He actually spent 24 days in a sanctuary like this. And I could see an entire difference in him. He lost so much of weight and he feels like he's a fresh man. So these things really work. Now, this guy, Mr. Pandu, he had 5 different sons from 2 of his wives. Wife number 1 was Kunti. Wife number 2 was Madri. Now, Kunti had a secret power. All right. That secret power was there because of her great hospitality. As a child, one Rishi came to her home and she really did great service to him. She really looked after the saint, and that Rishi was so happy. By the time he was leaving, he said, "Oh, dear girl, what do you want?" Now, she was just a girl, right? Girls want toys. Some girls want boys. This girl wanted kids. What did she want? In her imagination, she thought, what if I could have a son from the sun? What if I could have a son from a god? That was her fantasy. So the Rishi actually gave her a boon. He said, you chant this mantra and you call upon a god. The god will come and will give you a child. She said, okay. Now, a few days later, as she turned 14, she wanted to test this theory. So at the very bright early morning, she went near the Ganga river. And as her feet and her entire legs were completely drenched, she looked up at the rising sun. She chanted the mantra and she said, I wish the sun god will come and give me a son. And lo and behold, before she knew it, the sun god actually appeared right in front of her in a bright, shining avatar. And she could not believe her eyes. And at that time, that little girl, whose name was Kunti, she said, oh my God, I did not know this actually works. But the sun god said, hey, I have come because you have called me. The mantras have power. Now I can't go back empty handed. I have to give you a son. So immediately he gave her a son. And with that, Kunti delivered a child. And that child, because he was from the sun, he had sun-like properties as well. He had kavach and kundal that was attached to his body. And we all know who he was. Do you know who he was or he is? Can anybody guess the name?
Karna.
Karna. Very good. Meena and very good Dhananjay. Yes, that was Karna. Later on, Kunti called for 5 more gods. And when I say later, after she got married to Pandu and she started to live in the jungle, at that time she called 3 gods and she had children from them. Now Madri, who was also staying with her, Madri was also married to Pandu. Madri also wanted children, and Pandu did not have the ability to father children. So she said, can you please give me this mantra? I will only use it once. And Kunti, being very kind-hearted, she gave her the mantra, and she called for the Sanat Kumaras. She actually called for the lords of medicine, and that's how Kunti and Madri, both of them had 3 and 2 sons. Together, after some time, Madri actually passed away along with Pandu. Now Kunti was left with 5 children. All right. But what's happening to the kingdom Hastinapur? Hastinapur actually is being handled by Dhritarashtra, where he said, okay, while my brother is in an ailment and while his sons are quite young, they cannot really take care of the kingdom. Just a minute. all right. So he cannot take care of the kingdom. So in that case, what do we do? He said, it's all right. In the meantime, I will be the king. I will take care of the kingdom while the sons of Pandu are growing up. And once they are ready, we will give them their entire kingdom. That was the deal. However, as the Pandavas were growing up, Mr. Dhritarashtra started to put a lot of poison in the minds of the children so that the Kauravas and the Pandavas were against each other since their childhood. Now, a lot of things have happened afterwards to a point that Pandavas got married to Draupadi. Then Pandavas had a game of dice with the Kauravas and their Shakuni Mama, who played with the dice that were made from the bones of his father. And the dice listened to him completely. If he wanted 6, he will just roll the dice and he will get 6. As a result, the Pandavas had no chance of winning. And then, before anyone could know, the Pandavas lost everything, including their own freedom. So now they had a new deal that Kunti and Madri, yes, very true. So, as I said, that now they had a new deal that, okay, all the Pandavas will go to the jungle. They will do their vanvas. And not just that, they will also have 1 year of Agyatavas. That means nobody can identify them, complete spy mission. And that entire chapter of Agyatavas, I remember when I did sessions with children on the entire Mahabharata. It was a series of around 36 sessions. The children loved the Virat Parva the most. Now, once the Virat Parva was over, the Pandavas revealed themselves. By this time, they met Krishna, and Krishna became their protector since then. Now that the Pandavas were back, Pandavas said, hey, Mr. Duryodhan, I need my Rajya back. And to that, Duryodhan said, no, I won't give you a land which is as big as the point of a needle without having a war for it. And war is what I want. Eventually, what would happen is the Kauravas and the Pandavas ended up going for the war. Now there was a question, who will Krishna fight from? He wanted to be equal to both the sides. So Krishna offered 2 things. One thing he gave to Duryodhan and the other to to Arjun. He said, okay, you have a choice. In the end, we are nothing but our choices, right? What we wear, who do we hang out with, what meeting you attend at 7 p.m. on a Friday are choices. That is what defines us. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone for being a part of this meeting. And now, even on that day, Arjun had a choice, Duryodhan had a choice. And the choice was, will you take Krishna, who was unarmed, who was not going to fight, or will you take the Narayani Sena, which was never defeated until now? Duryodhan made his choice very quickly. He said, I want the Sena. Krishna, I will call you for all the celebrations afterwards once we have won the war. We don't need you right now. And Arjuna was very happy. It's like, this is exactly what I wanted, and you are giving this to me. I'm so happy. I'm so happy on this. Now, with this entire thing going on, they had to form their battle armies as well, because Mahabharata is such a unique war. Now, how does an army look like? Let's take a look at that as well. And for that, I'm going to open shamelessly. I'm going to open Google, and I'm going to ask Google, what is an Akshauhini? Because Akshauhini is what they needed. An Akshauhini is a formation of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 65,000 turanga or horses, 109,000 infantrymen, and overall 218,000 plus 700 people. This is one Akshauhini. And what we have here is that the entire all the forces that gathered, because what happens in a war, let's say a king is going for a war, he's not going to fight alone. Whoever had an allegiance with that king, he will say, okay, I'm going for a war, come and join me. So Pandavas and Kauravas called their allegiances, so that Pandavas had a total army of 7 Akshauhini. Kauravas had a total army of 11 Akshauhini. And there comes the number 18 one more time if you join 11 plus 7. Like I said, Bhagavad Gita is all about symmetry. This is the beauty of our scriptures. If you start to study them and start to observe the minute details, there are so many juicy details that you just want to keep reading and reading and reading. Now, what's going to happen next is, before we go ahead with that, we need to set up the stage as to why are we seeing this whole thing. Now the Kauravas and the Pandavas, all of them have reached the battleground. Can anyone tell me the name of the battleground? It's very much close to Delhi.
Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra. Very good. So they all reached the Kurukshetra and the battle is about to start. Now, during those times, there was no Tata Sky. During those times, there was no Hotstar or a live stream, right? There was no OTT after all. So what do you do? How do you have the live telecast then? That's really when Dhritarashtra called for a sage. Anyone who remembers the name of the sage will get more points.
Sanjay.
No, not the Sanjay. He called for a sage or a rishi who came in and he gave the boon to Sanjay. He said, Dhritarashtra, first of all, I want to give you this super sight.
Parshuram.
No, not Parshuram. He said, Dhritarashtra, I want to give you this super sight so that you can watch the war yourself. To that, Dhritarashtra said, give me 1 second. I'll just, somebody at the door. Vedavyas is the right answer. Who gave the right answer?
Deepika.
Deepika, well done. I'll just come back in a minute. Just a minute.
Anshum, what's today's meet all about?
Hi, I invited you guys in he do his session. I attended his sessions. It was really great. He's DTM in Toastmaster. So
Okay.
yeah, today is not like our format open discussion. Sorry.
Yeah, no issue.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, Aniket.
Hey.
Is it possible for you to introduce like little bit what we are doing here?
Sure, I will do that. Now, what we are doing here is we are understanding Bhagavad Gita. To give you a quick context, I'm from Bangalore and I did an in-person session on understanding Bhagavad Gita. It was an in-person workshop for about 2 hours. And many people came there. Afterwards, there was a lot of interest to actually continue the journey online. So we formed a WhatsApp group, and I will drop a link to the WhatsApp group also in this in the chat. So if any one of you wants to join, you can feel free to join now. Join the WhatsApp group. Now, what we are doing is we are going to go through all the verses of Bhagavad Gita, and we will be understanding that. All right. Throughout this entire journey, we will be looking at a lot of concepts. We will be talking about what is the work that we are supposed to do? That is Karma Yoga. We will be talking about how do you continue to do your work and not be affected by the results that we get or we don't get, right? Because that's a lot of times what we do. We apply for a lot of jobs, but we don't get any callbacks, right? We go for a lot of interviews, but we don't get the package that we think we deserve. So in that case, how do we find the right path? And in order to answer questions like these, we have Bhagavad Gita, an ancient texture that has been with us for more than 7,000 years, and something that holds the answers to a lot of questions that we have. I'm already running an initiative in Marathi where I teach Gnaneshwari. Anyone Marathi over here? You can just raise your hand. I can see Dhananjay is there. Dhananjay is there. Yeah. So we do that in Marathi. And through that, we have already reached the Adhyay number 4. And I'm telling you, so many awesome concepts are there. I'm really excited. I'm so excited that today I'm actually not well. I have taken sick leave in office. But this session is very important. And at the beginning, it was only only Anshum and I who were there in the meeting. But we started the meeting and all of you guys joined in. So now I think we are all set to go and start looking at the first shloka one more time because so many of you have joined. Is everyone clear with what we are doing? These will be online sessions that's going to be happening on Friday evening at 7 p.m. One common question that I get is, will there be a fees? Most likely there will be a fees, but it will be very nominal because mainly that fees is mainly covering the Zoom, license, that's all. Now, shall we get started with the first shloka again? This time, if possible, whoever is at home, I need you to unmute because when you chant the shlokas, that's truly when you actually experience the power. All right, so anyone unmuted? Let me see. I see Rohit. Jayati has unmuted. Thank you, Jayati and Rohit, and Kuku as well, and Meenu also. Very good. Cool. Dhritarashtra Uvacha
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
समवेतादिवृत्तहम्
Samaveta
समवेता
U for YouTube
यु
Yutsavaha
युयुत्सवः
Yuyutsavaha Yuyutsavaha. Now next line Mamakaha
मामकः
Pandavaha
पाण्डवः
Cha Eva
च एव
Kim Akurvat
किम् अकुर्वत
Sanjaya.
सञ्जय
Now let's do a little bit faster. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
समवेताय युयुत्सवः
Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva
मामकः पाण्डवाश्चैव
Kim Akurvat Sanjaya.
किम् अकुर्वत सञ्जय.
All right, thank you. I think you guys really did very well. Everyone, please clap for yourself. I think we did brilliantly. Very nice recitation of the first shloka. Rohit has a question. Rohit, just give me 1 second. Let me first go through the shloka, then I'll take your question. Now, this first shloka has been I would say, the point of discussion for so many books. All right. So here, Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra were sitting. Before that, I was discussing about Dhritarashtra not getting the boon himself. We need to understand the psychology behind that. You will also see that Bhagavad Gita is actually a book about psychology. We will come to that. Let me just quickly mute everyone. All right. So when Veda Vyasa came and he said, I can give you a Divya Drushti, you can directly, technically speaking, RDP into the entire the Mahabharata war, and you can see it live. Do you know what Dhritarashtra said at the time? He said something really good for a change. He said, my entire life I have been blind. I haven't seen the flowers. I haven't seen my children grow up. I did not see them walk for the first time. I could not attend the marriage of my own son, Duryodhan. I could not see his bridesmaid. So in my life, I have never seen anything. And now you want me to watch the Narasamhar or the destruction of my family. And that's the only thing I will be watching in my entire life. That's kind of cruel, don't you think? So I don't want this boon. Give it to someone else, somebody who will sit in front of me and tell me what's happening. And that is how they called Sanjaya. Now, let me tell you one thing. Have you ever heard a cricket commentator who is biased? Oh, come on, I'm sure you must have somewhere.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
yes. They want
yes.
India to win. They want,
Yes, yes.
or sometimes they want England to win. And they're only
Yeah.
praising the England players, right? Which means the job of a commentator, more important than specificity, is unbiasedness. No matter who is winning, don't get excited if Pandavas are winning, or don't sound bad if Kauravas are winning. He has to be unbiased. And that was the prime quality of Sanjay. Because he was a minister, he could be unbiased and he was not related to anyone, Pandavas or Kauravas. So he was chosen, and now he is sitting in front of Dhritarashtra. And now Dhritarashtra, now if you look at it, Bhagavad Gita is such a great book, right? Such a great grantha. You would think, just like any other spiritual book, the first line is usually Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Asya Shri Rama Raksha Stotra Mantrasya. You always call Ganesha first, or you call some kind of deity, and from there you start. But Bhagavad Gita starts from Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Why would you have this person start such an awesome book? The reason behind that is the person who is blind, the person who cannot see what's happening around him, has to rely upon somebody who is unbiased and can see a lot of things. So you need to learn how to trust others. And from there, we begin our journey. Put your trust. Now you start listening. Now, if you look at the words, both Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, in fact, everyone knew if somebody goes to a cricket ground, are they going to play football? No, they are going to play cricket. If somebody goes to the Kurukshetra, they are going to have a war. But the question that Dhritarashtra asked, he did not ask how is the war going. He's saying Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. That means Kurukshetra, which is the name of the place, which is also a Dharma Kshetra. Kshetra means field. It is a Dharma Kshetra because there are a lot of yajnas that have happened in that place. And they say that if there are a lot of good deeds that have happened on a place, it carries good vibes. And those good vibes are passed on to whoever is actually doing something on that land. Which is why at the beginning of, whenever you buy a house, what do? You do something when you buy a house. Before,
Puja of the house, Gadeshji's puja.
correct. Griha Pravesh, right? You do Griha Pravesh. Because,
Yes.
yes, because that is the beginning of something good in that house. And now it is hospitable. With the yajna, all the smoke that comes, it cleans the air, it kills the germs. If there are any bad energies around, it deflects them away. Now the house is ready to live. So, similarly, this Kurukshetra is also like that because there are so many good deeds that have happened. So he says, on the Kurukshetra, which is also a Dharma Kshetra, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. Samaveta means gathered. Yuyutsavaha means people who are eager to fight. All the people who are so eager to fight have gathered in the Kurukshetra. What? Then the next line he says, Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Now this is the crux of a lot of things. Mamakaha means mine. Pandavaha means the sons of Pandu. The sons of me and the sons of Pandu, what did they do Please tell me, Sanjay, Kim Akurvat. Kim means what? Akurvat means what did they do? And it is being asked to Sanjay. Now, in this case, he could have simply asked, what are they doing? Right? Or he could have asked, how is the war going? But he did not do that. There is a reason for that. In the same Virat king, in his Sabha, when the Pandavas were having a lot of festivities, at that time he had sent Sanjay. And if you read the actual Mahabharata, you will find the dialogues of Sanjay, such a sweet language he has used, that, oh dear Pandavas, you are so pious. You are such good people. Your hearts are made out of gold. Your minds are made out of, or you have minds. And you truly are worthy of becoming kings of the entire world. However, as your uncle, I would like to recommend, don't run behind this money. Money is nothing. You do one thing, you keep roaming around. You do more yajnas. You do a world tour and check all the temples in the world. Don't worry about the money. Your uncle Dhritarashtra is still sitting, and I will give you as much money as you want. Okay? And when he heard this sweet talk, Dharmaraj Yudhishthir, who was the eldest of the 5 Pandavas, he actually agreed, yes, our uncle is so good. And he was almost going to agree, but then somebody stopped him, and that was Krishna. And Krishna, what he said is, wait. I know what you're thinking. I have something to share here. Tell Mr. Dhritarashtra that Pandavas have suffered enough. They have gone and visited to enough temples. They have had enough share of their own troubles. But you, on the other hand, have been sitting comfortably in that palace of yours along with your 100 sons. It's the time for you to leave the palace. And you do all the world tour and don't worry about the money. Dwarika will send twice the money as you are going to send. And with that, he sends Sanjaya back. But even then, even that futile attempt, Sanjay had thrown a few seeds that were now going to sprout. Right? He had sown the seeds of a doubt. Is it right to kill my own kinsman? Is it really good thing that I'm doing right now? So when Dhritarashtra is asking this question, he's truly asking, whatever I had told them, has it taken some effect or not? Because such a, duba hua politician that Dhritarashtra was, he knew that if he is playing something that has to work, I'm sure it will show effect. And it did show effect, as we will see in a few shlokas later. So that was this first shloka. What do you guys feel about the first shloka? Are you guys excited to go to the second one and see what happens next? Give me a yes, please, in chat, or you can unmute also. Because throughout this entire session, thank you. Throughout this entire session, we will be looking at the story of Mahabharata and also understand the history behind that shloka. A lot of shlokas actually have a lot of history. And now we go to the second shloka. So everyone who can, do unmute. Let's now look at the second shloka. Drushtva tu.
Drishvastu.
Drishtva tu
Pandavanikam
Pandavanikam
Vyudham
Vyudham
Duryodhanastada
Duryodhanastada
Acharyam
Acharyam
Upasangamya
Upasamgamya
Raja
Raja
Vachanam Abravit.
Vachanam Abravit.
Abravit means he spoke. Okay, now let's take a look at this shloka. Let's say it a little bit faster. Drushtva tu Pandavanikam
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam
Vyudham Duryodhanastada.
Vyudham
Duryodhanastada.
Duryodhanastada.
Acharyam Upasangamnya.
Acharyam Upasangamya.
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Okay, great. Thank
Hi,
you.
hi, hi.
All right. So let's try to understand what it means. Drushtva tu. Drushtva tu. What does it mean? Actually, we have the entire meaning also written over here. So drushtva means on observing. Tu means but. So but even then, as he was observing, the Pandava army standing in a military formation, the king Duryodhan, then tada means then, he went to his teacher, and his teacher was Drona, and he said upasangamya, or he approached his teacher. So looking at the vyudha, looking at the formation of the army on the Pandava side, right now, on which side are we, Kaurava or Pandava? In the story, where are we right now? On which side?
Kauravas.
Correct. We are on the Kaurava side right now. So as we are here on the Kaurava side, Mr. Duryodhan, who was the proud king, well, he was a prince, not yet king. So Mr. Crowned Prince Duryodhan, he is looking at such a huge formation of the army by the Pandavas. If you look at the numbers, Pandavas had lesser army than Kauravas. But even then, if I am able to put this entire army in a formation, let's say like a diamond. Now, suddenly the diamond formation sounds like it's going to cut our entire army, slice it apart. And that scared Duryodhan. You see, when there's a small child, really a babe, when that little child does not know anything, you go near the child and you say, "Bah," the child will quickly try to go back to its mother, right? Because whenever you are scared, you try to go to your comfort zone, correct? Let's say if you are going for an interview and you are scared, you want to go back to your comfort zone. Either you will call your friends, you have made some notes, you will go through the notes. I remember I was listening to some songs to put myself in the peak state of mind, but you will do something which is in your comfort zone. That is exactly what Duryodhan did as well. The moment he saw this army, he was like, oh my God, they are huge. And he was scared. And when he was scared, he went towards his most comfort zone, that is Dronacharya. Dronacharya, who was his teacher. Now, in this case, you will find that Sanjaya actually calls him Raja. He says, Raja Vachanam Abravit. That means the king Duryodhan said something. But as we know, Duryodhan is not a king yet. So Sanjay is just trying to please his boss. So when you are working, wherever you are working, if you see somebody is trying to please their boss, just know that this trait is 7,000 years old. Isn't that interesting? All right, now let's go to the next one. Verse number 3. Now let's read it again. So everyone unmute. Whoever can, please unmute. Ready? Pashyaitam
Pashyetam
Panduputranam
Panduputranam
Acharya Mahati Chamum
Acharya Mahati Chamam
Vyudham
Vyudham
Drupadaputrena
Drupadaputrena
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Very good. Now, what does it mean? What it literally means is Duryodhan is speaking with Dronacharya. Now, there are two super senior VPs out here. Again, VPs I'm comparing to the corporate world, but super senior guys. Person number 1 is Bhishmacharya, who has Ichha Mrityu Vardhan. He cannot die until he wishes. and he has outlived most of the kings. He is 170 years old. Arjuna is almost 75 years old. Duryodhana also the same age. The youngest among them was the one who was killed in the Chakravyuha.
Abhimanyu.
Very nice, Abhimanyu. So, among all of these people in the Kaurava side, Drona and Bhishma are the two most prominent leaders. So when Duryodhan is talking to Dronacharya, he knows that both Drona and Bhishma, in the depth of their heart, they love the Pandavas, right? They don't want to kill these Pandavas, but just because their duty calls them to, they are fighting. So let's say you are a manager, okay? You are a manager of a guy called as John, and you know that John at heart is an artist. Okay, he also only wants to paint, but because of some financial troubles, he has joined his job and he's doing it just like that, just dragging his feet throughout the day. But you want to inspire John. So what do? You say, Mr. John, do you see someone there? That's Jane. Jane has worked 1 year lesser than you, and look at her, she is so successful. Can you beat her record of sales? So he challenges the ego of John and says, can you try to beat her record? And now with that focus in mind, now John jumps into his work, tries to do a lot of work. And in the end, the manager ended up inspiring John. Correct? Very similar situation happening 7,000 years ago, where Drona is there against his will. And Duryodhan is trying to inspire Drona, telling him, don't keep your soft heart about the Pandavas on your sleeve. Keep that away. Now, how is he doing that? He's saying, Pashyaitam, oh, watch the sons of Pandu and look at their huge army, Mahati Chamum. Then he says, Vyudham Drupada Putrena. That means that Chamu, or that team, has been put into a formation by the son of Drupada. And who is the son of Drupada? He is the leader or the commander of the Pandava army. He is also your Shishya. And for that, we need to look at a story. Right? This story is about Mr. Bhishma. I'll give you a quicker version of the story. So Drona and Drupada, both the Dras, Ayushman, I think he was saying something. Okay, both the Dras. So Drupad and Drona, school friends. And you know that time when you're about to leave from school and you say, hey, I'm going to stay in touch with you. You'll say, yes, I'm also going to stay in touch with you. Now, they made a promise to each other. Whenever you need me, I will help you. Because Drupada was the king of a son. He was the king of a son of a king. I mixed the words there. Drupada was the son of a king. He was going to become a king. So I guess, what is this called again in the film industry? When the star son also becomes a star. Nepotism. Yes, nepotism. Even nepotism was happening. So you see, things haven't changed much, except Coca-Cola maybe. But yes. And then Drona was the son of a teacher. So he said, yes, I'm going to teach in my father's school, maybe take it over. But things didn't go very well with Drona. He kept teaching, but the students went away, and he was in extreme poverty. His parents thought, let's get him married. Maybe that will change his fate. So they married him to a lady called Krupi, who was the sister of Krupacharya, who was a teacher in Hastinapur. Now Krupi and Drona started to live, but even then the situation did not change. Again, the parents thought, maybe you have a child, then your situation will change. And finally, listening to them, they had a child. His name was Ashwathama. Now Ashwathama was not really a child who was used to living in poverty, because Krupi accepted her fate and she's like, okay, this is my life. Now, one day, Ashwathama asked for milk and there was no milk in the house. So Krupi quickly mixed some flour along with water, mixed it up and said, this is your milk. And problem was solved temporarily. Now, a few days later, he went to his mama's house, Krupacharya. Now, he lived in a huge bungalow. He had a lot of cattle. He had a lot of money. And that's really where Ashwathama tasted milk for the first time, real milk. And after that, when he came home, he refused to have the fake milk. And he said, I am not going to have this milk. Now, at this point of time, Krupi said, enough is enough. You have to take help from your friend. So Drona went all the way to Drupada's palace. At that time, Drupada was having some really famous guests at his house. So when a beggar-like looking but sharp-eyed Drona was standing in front of him, Drona said, I just need one cow. That's it. I don't want money. I don't want your favors. Just one cow. Drupada could have given him the cow, but he said, no. Who are you? I don't know you. And why should I give you a cow? For no reason. Go away. Now, this really infuriated Drona. So he went back. Now, what does he do? What can he do? He can't go home. So straight away, he went to Hastinapur and met his brother-in-law. To meet his brother-in-law. That's where Kauravas and Pandavas were playing Gulli Danda. Bhima hit the gulli inside a well. Drona helped these kids by sending an arrow inside and getting the arrow back along with the gilli. All the kids were mighty impressed. They says, this is my Udemy and this is my great learning. I want to learn from this guy. So immediately, Dhritarashtra hired Drona. Mistake number one. Drona, who was teaching in his own school earlier, now took up a job and started to live in Hastinapur in a bungalow and started to teach the sons of, that is Pandavas and Kauravas. However, his own son, Ashwathama, was also studying in his own school. Mistake number two. Whenever you have a child and you are teaching, they should not study in your class. That was the rule or dharma in that case. But he did not follow that. He allowed him. Now, when Kauravas and Pandavas completed their education, they said, they had a very reverse payment system back then. Nowadays, we first get a payment link. You make the payment, then you join the class. Upon those times, you join the class, you complete the capstone project, and then you pay your master. So when these kids completed their capstone project, at that time, they said, oh, dear master, what can we do for you? He said, I just want one thing. I have an enemy in Drupada. I want you to go and capture him. I want to see him on his knees in front of me. Mistake number three, because Drona used his own ego to fuel the education of all these children, right? He could have asked for something good, but no, he asked for something like a vengeance. So Kauravas went first, but they were literally beaten up like anything. It was like Zimbabwe playing against Australia. And they came back really ashamed the next day itself. Later on, Pandavas went. But in Pandavas, Yudhishthira knew something. He says, this man can't be won with arrows. He needs words. So Arjuna, you go and talk to him. You are very good with words. Maybe a future Toastmaster. Now, Arjuna went inside. And he said, oh dear Drupada, I know you are a mighty king and you are really good in fighting. I have no grief against you. I have no grudge with you. There is no reason to fight. I have an old teacher who wants to see you in handcuffs on your knees. That's all. All I ask is you come with me, let him see you in that way, and you walk away. Now, Drupada had his own reasons as well. When he looked at Arjuna, he said, wow, if ever I had a daughter, he is going to be my son-in-law. Okay, I am fully impressed. He had the guts to come and ask me this. So he agreed. And now Drupada goes to Hastinapur, where he meets Drona. Drupada is in handcuffs, on his knees, looking down. Drona could have accepted that, but he didn't. Mistake number 3. And then Drona insulted him so much that Drupada actually walked out even more furious. So he went back and he actually did a yajna. And through that yajna, the purpose was, whenever you do a yajna, there should be a purpose. His purpose was, I want a child or children who will be responsible for killing Drona. And the flames crackled. The entire fire split. And from the fire walked 2 adult-sized kids. One was Draupadi. The other was Drishtadyumna. And Drishtadyumna was the commander-in-chief of the Pandava army. Now, when it came for the education of Drishtadyumna, how will he study? So they said, you go to the best teacher, go to Drona and you learn from him. Now at this point of time, Drona did something good. He did not say no. He accepted Drishtadyumna as a student. And he taught Drishtadyumna everything, how to create these vyudhas. So now with this story, you know that Drona is looking at this entire army and he's saying, wow, my student did exactly what I taught him. And exactly at the time, Duryodhana is telling him, see what you did, Drona. Your student is creating such a huge army. You are responsible for this. And that's really the meaning of this shloka. And this was the shloka number 3. And we are at the minute number 60. So I want to take a pause here. And I want to ask all of you, what did you think of this session? Would you like to attend a future session like this?
Of course.
Thank you, Jayati. What about others?
Hey, me
Yes.
too. I am Arnav.
Hi, Arunab. Thank you so much. What about Rohit and Digvijay? All right, cool. Thank you so much. Now I have given the link for joining the WhatsApp group in the chat earlier. Maybe I can post that link again and you guys can join the WhatsApp group. Our next session again will be on Friday, next Friday, 20th of Jan. It's going to be at 7 p.m. And first of all, I really would like to thank each and every one of you for joining in. Can you all please start your video? I want to take a group picture. I want to share it with the group and with a lot of other people. That Bhagavad Gita have so many listeners. Sorry, has so many listeners. All right. Thank you, Meenu. Cool. Okay, everyone is starting their videos. Rohit is also starting his video. And I see Ayushman also here. Do start your video. Cool. Now with this, let's do one thing. Let's all say Drona in a very serious manner. All right. 1, 2, 3. Drona. Very good. Awesome. I think I got all of us. Oh, wait. There is one more person. Rohit just started his video. One more time. One more Drona. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Now, once again, you have a great weekend ahead. And I would like to know some of you, if you would like to share who you are, what do you do? Jayati, if you can start, that'll be great. We'll spend only 5 minutes in this. I'll not take much of your time.
I am an entrepreneur and I love listening to these spiritual or whatever epics there are we have in our culture, because I'm not very aware of all these things. I haven't been brought up on these scriptures, so I'm very interested to know all this.
Excellent. Great to have you here, Jayati. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about Dhananjay? What do you do, Dhananjay?
Hello, sir. I worked in Tech Mahindra, software engineer.
Mhm.
I'm living in Pune. I like this kind of discussions and learnings as well.
Thank you. Mhm.
Yep. It contribute in a good human personality, I believe.
Very true. Very true. You get a lot of clarity. And in the future sessions, you would see that as we look at the as we look at the confusion in the mind of Arjun, and we will try to decipher that as well.
Many people actually know the fixed part of it, whatever is written,
Yeah.
but whatever is not written and the part of story is not like
Yeah.
the story you shared about the prefaces you
Yeah.
said before, like the story of uh, Dronacharya and the Drupad,
Drupada.
that Drupada, that is means that are not written and hidden.
Yeah.
We where we say na reading between the lines,
Correct.
that
Correct.
type of things and that are necessary.
Very true. A lot of shlokas actually have a backstory. A lot of
Mhm.
slokas are meant to, I would say, reflect a specific emotion. And for that, you need to know what happened. Without that, it's incomplete. Okay, cool. Thank you, Dhananjay.
Can I share something, Aniket?
Yes, yes, go ahead, Arunab.
Actually, Dhananjay, whatever you were saying, this is the 700 lines actually on the battleground, and the whole thing is going on in between the Mahabharata.
Yeah.
Mahabharata is the real thing, and this is not a epic story, or this is not a scripture, like this is our history actually. Okay,
Yeah.
and from that you can tell it in a history book, that is the battlefield. 700 sloka only the questioning and answering things. And that Krishna is getting fed up of the question of Arjuna, and everybody is questioning each other, and this is the best conversation, battleground conversation, obviously. That is the thing
Okay.
actually.
Okay. Okay. I would like to interrupt here.
Yeah,
Krishna
yeah, yeah.
is not fed up of questions from Arjuna.
No,
It's
no,
like,
no, no, and not fed up of. I am actually just giving.
understood.
Yeah, yeah.
Understood. Understood. See, the thing is, it's like, um, imagine I know how to solve, let's say, E equal to MC square or the other unsolved mysteries in the world. I know the answer in one sentence, right? Now I can say this to anyone on the road, but would they really understand it? No. In
Yeah,
order to receive a knowledge like that, you need to have a mindset to that level where you can grasp it. Whenever we learn something, we are like a sponge. So whoever can be a
exactly.
sponge for such a divine knowledge. So did you know that after Bhagavad Gita was told, um, Hanuman, who was sitting on the chariot of Arjun, he missed visiting his mother on that day, and his mother was
Yes,
angry.
yes.
His mother said, "Hey, you did not come to visit me today." Hanuman said, "I'm really sorry, Anjani Mata, but I was listening to some divine knowledge." She says, "Oh, really? You tell me that again now." He says, "Yeah, but I don't really remember exactly what it is. So let me do one thing. Let me get somebody who heard it." So he got
Yeah,
Arjun. Arjun
yes,
also
yes.
said, "I don't remember completely." So then they got Krishna, and
Krishna.
he invited Krishna, "Please, you come and tell me." And Krishna said, "I'm so sorry. When I told him this knowledge, it was meant to be in that moment, from that moment. There was no
Yes,
recording.
yes.
So if you want to hear, you have to come back in a later generation, a later era, where this
Mhm.
will be written down, then you can read. So Anjani Mata was waiting for this knowledge to be written down in a later era.
And
So
she was getting angry upon Hanuman also, because
Hanuman
why
was,
are you? Yeah, for that reason, Kapit Dhwaj. That is the Arjuna Rath's name,
yes,
chariot's name, Kapit
correct,
Dhwaj.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Very true. Cool. All right, let's have one more person share what they would like to share. Maybe Rohit has started his video, and I like Rohit's jacket also. I'm not able to hear you, Rohit.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes.
Okay. Hi, sir. My name is Rohit Verma. I am from Kolkata and I am an HR recruiter for Tech Mahindra. Okay. And apart from that, I have my own business also. I do
Wonderful.
that. And coming to that, coming to this, I was I started exploring spiritual books. Like at first, I read Bhagavad Gita only in lockdown.
Mhm.
After that, I feel like there are many things which every individual should be known at the early age, so that he or she can make better decisions in life and make wise decisions. So after that, I gradually started exploring more and more and read many books like
Yeah.
Chanakya Niti, and also these generation books like Philip Kotler, that is
Yeah.
a marketing book,
Kotler is a good one.
and
Yes.
many other things,
True. True.
many other scriptures. Rumi book I have read,
Oh, Rumi is a very nice poet.
and
I'm going to use one of his
yes,
poetry in one
that.
of the coming future sessions. Yes. But wonderful poet. Yes.
So I started reading, and one more thing I read, which is incomplete now. I am reading
Okay.
Napoleon Hill. Have you heard this book?
Yes. Think and
Think
Grow
and Grow.
Rich. I have an audio book on this. Actually, on YouTube also it exists. Very nice book. Hmm.
Yes,
Correct.
I feel like this generation kids have forgotten the knowledge or power of a book,
Hmm.
because it costs less than a plate of biryani from a good restaurant,
Yeah.
but it gives teachings and lessons from a lifetime, and it
Very
can
true.
enhance your knowledge.
Very true. Very true.
That's the thing. And
I,
also what you mentioned from that means my I have personal point of view about every scripture. Means I started thinking gradually
hmm.
that maybe it can happen. Like I will give an example of Ashwatthama,
Hmm.
what you heard. So I think that Ashwatthama or any other thing in the character is just to explain human
Hmm.
mankind the
Behaviors. Yeah.
deeper meaning. Like when Krishna cursed Ashwatthama that you will be forever till the time
Yeah.
period is finished.
Yeah.
So I believe that he doesn't curse that person. Means Ashwatthama is not does not have any existence. I believe that he cursed the qualities
Hmm.
what Ashwatthama has, like hatred, jealousy, anger, many more
Yeah.
things. So that's why these qualities are still in mankind.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Very true. Very true.
like
And
this, I
these
think.
qualities that you just spoke about, this is also something
Mm.
that evolves. You see, I started to read
Yes.
Gita in 2003. It was my first ever breakup. And at that time, my mother gave me Bhagavad Gita, and I started to read that. Yet it was Naneshwari, but I did not understand anything, not a word. Okay. But later on, as I read it the second time, small little tiny light bulb moments
Mm.
started to happen. That, okay, yeah, this is the meaning of this. When I read it the third time, the fourth time, the more you read, the more meanings you get. The first reading is just to get to know the verses. You need to have this I mean, I'm sure this entire series of sessions will help you to understand how we can go further about this.